Thanks very much, Kathy. It's always going to be difficult following such great speakers. Hamish and DJ captured two dimensions of what attracts me to what I call the orthodox socialist or communist tradition, and that is an interest in developing serious policy and a very strong internationalist dimension. You see that one in that the orthodox communist lineage has been very strong in rejecting imperialism. Partially that's maybe the inheritance of Lenin and the Soviet Union, because it was the great foe of the United States and the West. But in any case, I think it has made it take a very realistic assessment of where American power is at and where other elements of the left, otherwise quite progressive in many ways, tend to be more naive. I'm thinking here of the colour revolution in 2014 in the Ukraine, which sort of unleashed overt Nazism in Europe for the first time in a big way in 3/4 of a century. The ongoing, but as yet failed colour revolution in Venezuela, the proxy wars in Syria and Yemen. None of these governments, by the way, are particularly brilliant, I'm sure, but nevertheless, they have, these countries have every right to develop without fear of being attacked, whether economically or militarily. There's another dimension, though, to the internationalism, and that is European socialism took a really big hit in the 1990s with the fall of the Soviet Union. And you see it not just in Russia itself, but in the collapse of the say, major parties like the Italian Communist Party, the decline of the French Communist Party, the collapse of the Workers' Party ourselves in 1992, and we've been straggling on since then, only attempting to seriously rebuild in the last couple of years. And in that time, the red banner was falling in Europe. It was being carried still in other parts of the world, whether in Cuba or in India. And that gives great heart to those of us who are doing very boring slog work on a cold November evening, putting leaflets through doors in Cadward or trying to talk to ordinary people. Because there is a lot of boring slog involved in political work. And it's very good to know that there's a major movement still in existence with the potential to grow. Because it's not possible to change the world with just a few people. It needs to be a lot of people. That's why the old socialists turned to the working class as the agents of a better world. In terms of developing serious policy, we harbour no illusions of being able to implement any policies in the short term. The opposition is too strong at the moment. However, they can shift debate, and we can chip away at the edges. As we see the popularity of the Vienna housing model coming to fruition, even amongst the Green Party or the officials in Dublin City Council recently. And Eilish was, I think, probably the first to really push that on the council there. But they have another virtue in that they make the ideas of socialism more concrete. It's not that they're the equivalent for workers' power or the wholesale control of the means of production by the working class, but we can see from canvassing at the door, knocking on doors, that there's a real need for socialist policies. We see whole families living in homeless accommodation. We see women dying because health screening was privatised. We see public waste just being dumped on the inner city because the waste service has been privatised. Now, that tells us that our policies are in the right direction, that our instincts are in the right direction. But canvassing has another side to it, and it's more like the cold slap of reality, in that we can see that even though there's a lot of interest in the policies and sort of nodding in agreement, that doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to actually support us, especially in the shorter term. That's because you don't just give people one or two clever arguments or even one or two great policies. You have to struggle alongside them for years, and you have to earn their trust and work together with people. And so we're in the process of starting that again after sort of a hiatus. And hopefully that will come to fruition in the years to come. But we don't hold out unrealistic expectations in the short term. That cold slap of reality of where the working class is at sort of contradicts maybe what I call an influential myth, maybe not that widespread, but it's an influential myth that the working class is automatically revolutionary, and that someday capitalism is going to develop to such an extent, or maybe collapse to such an extent, that the working class will rise up and spontaneously seize power. We don't think that. I don't think Marx and Engels thought that. It was always the case that capitalism creates the conditions where it's possible for the working class to organise and fight for a socialist future. In other words, it sort of creates a predisposition towards collective action. And so one of the things we're trying to do with our policies is to say there can be collective solutions to social problems. And if you like this, there are more of these where they come from. And if you take it to the conclusion, you yourselves, working class, should have political power to implement them on a wide-scale basis. But of course, a predisposition has to be crystallised. It's not an automatic. It's not automatically going to happen. Especially when the working class is itself subject to counter-tendencies. There's a lot of, as we know, just simple anti-trade union propaganda. Every time there's any sort of murmur of dissent from the workers looking for a pay rise or some improvement in their terms and conditions, you can be sure that there are going to be articles in the press denouncing them as lazy and so on. We know too that right-wing parties and even centre-left parties whose policies in practice are often very similar, at least in Western Europe, are there active in working class communities and have a fair amount of support. And so there's no reason for people just to automatically switch away from them and over to socialist parties. We have to earn that through hard work, just as we have to earn sort of influence with the trade union movement through hard work and being able to advance both policies but also tactical and strategic perspectives that make sense to them. Elections are a tool in crystallising the working class as the agents for socialism. They're not the only tool, perhaps not even the most important tool. And I would say after the elections, our party would probably have to refocus away from elections onto agitation, education, more solidarity work. But they are a very important tool in sort of in our liberal democratic countries. Because I think that's what Eilish and Vijay said, they give an opportunity for engagement with people, not just on one or two issues of particular concern to them, whether it's a pothole or crime or whatever. But once you get talking, you can start talking about a lot of other issues as well. And the predisposition towards socialism is not just one of ideas. It has to be made concrete through organisation. Firstly, trade unions, but for a broader perspective, it requires a political party for a reason I come to shortly. For those of us who were politicised in the 1990s, remember that, at least in Ireland, it's a fairly sedate period politically, with a settled political order of inevitable liberal democratic capitalism. That isn't the situation now. Sort of change has been fairly remarkable in my view. I wouldn't have expected it to be so rapid, especially in the last 5 years. In countries like Hungary and in Italy, we have governments bordering on the far right, if not outright far right. Trump is not only a vulgar manifestation of American imperialism, but very much prone to just racist thinking in a way that even previous right-wing American presidents would be reluctant to do. And the situation seems to me not at all stable, either in Europe or further afield. We see it in Latin America. There was some fairly decent progress towards redistributed social policies about 10, 15 years ago. And it's been the case, I think, that the American security state has knocked them out one by one. And they're now trying to take down the baddie in Venezuela. The situation isn't stable, I think, for some fundamental reasons. Because capitalism is building a series of crises in parallel to each other. It's got an ecological problem coming. There's a massive technological development. VJ's gone into ones that have already happened, and there's more coming down the line with automation, which is probably going to affect a lot of skilled workers into the future, and giving rise to very unhappy skilled workers, which is going to be a social problem in itself. The rural reserve of labour is not going to go on forever. There's massive inequality, not just between the advanced capitalist countries and the rest of the world, but within the advanced capitalist countries. The rate of income increase for ordinary workers is more or less stagnated since the early 70s, with almost all the gains in productivity going to the capitalist class. And with the advent of austerity in the last 10 years, the gap, income and wealth gap, is only widening. And there's one effect of that is that the numbers and competition within the elite is itself growing. And that's a factor that socialists probably don't consider often enough, that intra-elite competition can often destabilize countries and societies. The combination of these, ecological inequality, technology, elite competition, are creating a series of sort of earthquakes that give rise to social convulsion. And you might see that in sort of anti-migrant sentiment in Italy, which is not a positive way of going of addressing what are sort of serious issues that people don't necessarily understand. I think Vijay put it well when he said the right don't have to attempt to understand what's going on. They can just wheel out some victims to blame. As well as the combination of those 4 or 5 issues, there's a fundamental contradiction between them sort of at the economic or material level and the political inability to deal with the problems. You'll see that the EU has a very pro-capitalist constitution, essentially, that makes even social democratic policies very hard to implement, and hence there's a lot of unhappiness with it. Hence there's a vote for populist nationalists in France and Italy and Hungary and elsewhere. That the inability of the political order to cope with the crisis is reminiscent, I think, of the situation in Europe in the late 19th and early 20th century. There you had a massive development of industrial capitalism, the creation of an urban working class, and that set the stage for confrontation between the political order on the continent of the old feudal monarchies in Germany, in Austria, and Tsarist Russia. Not just with the working class itself, but with the development of a bourgeoisie as well. There was a contradiction between that economic material level and the political order that was unleashed following World War I in all the countries. In some cases, as in the Soviet Union, it led in a progressive direction. Some cases in Germany, it ended up in quite a negative one. And if we're heading into the same situation where there's a contradiction between a very uncompromising right wing, as we see in America with people like Trump, or in the EU with its refusal to do even mild social democratic policies, then the stage is set for further convulsions over the next few years. I would say maybe 20, 30 years out. It's very hard to predict how those convulsions will occur, but it's unlikely that things will just meander on where they're going. So in that context, it's important for us, even though we're a very small party, in a very small country, to be serious about building. Because even though we're a revolutionary socialist party that engages in elections, we're under no illusions that we can actually stage a revolution like Ford Pearson march into the GPO or storm the Windsor Palace. That's not what we see as a revolutionary situation in our time or in our country. The convulsions and the EU is vulnerable to fragmentation. It's not in a stable situation. It could fragment, and who knows what will come out of it. It could be populist and fascist far right. Our duty is to attempt to build an organisation that can combat that and present a socialist future to the people. And to bring it back to the here and now, this requires participation in elections to make these ideas both sensible, progressive ideas sensible, but also widespread, so that there is some engagement. Because at the end of the day, the solution to the problems I listed in terms of environment, inequality, technology, they require state intervention. But it matters who controls the state. It matters a lot. And that requires political power for the working class. And that just can't be snap your fingers and you create it. It has to be built. And it has to be built internationally. We have to start thinking a lot more broadly than we have heretofore. It's very possible that a progressive future can emerge in Europe if we can work closely with other parties and comrades further afield. As I said, it's very heartening to have a significant workers' and communist movement in other countries. But we have to do our bit too, because if we don't, the future could be very negative for us. I'm very pleased, by the way, to conclude, to have people of the calibre of Eilish running for election, and not just in Europe, but also in the locals. And it's very important, I think, to keep the pressure on the officials here by working hard in the next couple of weeks to keep her elected, or keep her seat, if at all possible. We also have strong candidates like Cathy, Seamus in the room, Cormac, and Dave out in Palmerston, who are all, I think, people of integrity and ability. I wish them well.